Hey guys, this is Mauisnake, and today I'm going to be doing a player analysis for s0m, the rising talent for Gen.G esports. And the game that I selected was s0m going absolutely ballistic versus Team Liquid in the third map of their BO3 in the semifinals of CS Summit, or actually the lower bracket finals. So loser goes home after this match, and s0m did really everything you could ask for in terms of firepower in this game. But that being said, he does make a couple of mistakes, as we will see in this. So there is something to learn from it. But regardless of that, still a very good game. Knife's glitched out there, but let's get into it. So he'll post up pretty early on, actually, at the sandbags position. Just a pretty solid spot, as various nades could support him from this spot. And we'll see early on that automatic helps him out with nice smoke to stop s0m from burning here. Ignore the Molotov, that's just a glitch sound. I tried restarting this demo a couple times and it still just plays. But he just waits here, and what Gen.G do is actually pretty interesting. They don't wait for the smoke to dissipate as most teams do. They just flash on forward from Daps's support flash, and him, automatic Ventet, all of them just push on forward to look for the fights towards ramp, and it catches Liquid off guard. And that's a nice little play where Gen.G is showing that they're already taking the initiative in this game, as opposed to letting the fight just come to them and playing it in a standard sense. So early on, he'll throw a smoke towards ramp. You'll see that that's just the common lineup. Gets the smoke down there, and then he throws a nade also. And Gen.G lose a player towards B early on, so s0m, being the player that throws that, is the fastest to rotate, so he takes up the middle position. And you can see that he just plays a nice angle to catch Stewie off guard there. Now he changes his angle, backing up, making it harder for Leash to find the trade. And now, at this point, round is pretty much over. Just Nitro remains, and I'll raise the volume for a second so you can hear why s0m makes the positional play here that he does. So Gen.G are trying to figure out why a gun was just dropped. They probably communicated that, and then s0m takes a nice off angle here at this double stack box at the B bomb site and just continues to hold this angle. Nitro peeks on out. Good late round positioning from s0m based off of the audio cue that he had earlier in the round. So now first gun round comes out. s0m here early just posturing as he wants to throw the nade there. And this is a really good flash here that catches Elige off guard. So this is a nice just bank flash. Elige just wants to hold his position on top here, and s0m is able to find a kill because of it. Elige was boosted up onto that big box in the forklift room, and s0m is able to capitalize because he just wants to Elige wants to maintain that position. So good little flash. It's nothing fancy. It was nothing special, just a nice bank off the wall. And now you can see that s0m wants to delay any kind of push towards Ivy there, so pretty standard Molotov, all things considered, just kind of slowing that push down. And now he plays the triple on the bomb site. Decides against throwing his own smoke grenade to counter this one. It looked like he was thinking that he would want to throw a smoke to just stop any kind of push, but notice how he realizes that it's likely a fake. He just sees that one nade, but now the re-exec comes out and he decides that it's time to throw a smoke to choke off the Ivy alley position, and he just gets aggressive through the smoke a little bit, and finding the timing there with his push is able to find a kill on top, and he actually does an excellent job. This is the best you could play it from this triple, as he jumps up, finds them pushing forward the first time, and now 2v3 situation, no utility left at all, but still trades out the peek from Daps, or actually just double peeks with him, and hold his ground onto Stewie there, and now 4K already in the round, just NAF remains, and here's the drop there, so he's able to find that kill as well. Just perfect crosshair placement, perfect peeks with Dap. That was really not like, it's not like he even had to aim particularly well for most of those. It was just really good crosshair placement, and by aim I mean like he didn't have to adjust. He had his crosshair in the right position for every single one of those fights. It was very good awareness from him, just perfect positioning from him, and he played off of his teammates well. Good use of holding his smoke late into that round, making that difficult for Liquid in that push. They weren't able to kind of take any really strong space away from Gen.G, and just, I mean, really everything you could ask for from a player like that. Just shows that he's very experienced at this A bomb site, and it is where he normally plays, so it makes sense. And has a nade out once again. This would be a good support nade or flash for automatic to go for a peek there, but Liquid, they aren't really pressuring this position at all, so no real reason for him to use those nades. Notice that he's quite careful, and this is a little bit weird that he just runs through a Molotov, takes 54 damage, but regardless, he just pushes on through, or 64 damage. But just kind of cleaning up the ecos in that round. You can see that s0m is really good at not just blowing his utility too early in a round, something that a lot of younger players have a problem with, where they just want to throw the nades early on. But no, he does a good job. There's a joke to be made there, some innuendo, but I'm gonna pass on it here so that I can market this video for all audiences. But yeah, good supporting nades again to try to help out his teammates there. But now he's kind of stuck at the sandbags, and surprisingly, good double peek coming out from Elysian Naf to take him down. And this is kind of not really a mistake of a round, but one where he probably could have opted to back on up earlier. But other than that, it's just a good contest from Liquid. That's just going to happen at the contested ramp, that he throws good nades to support automatic and Bentet, but Liquid just kind of push on through the nades, and they get the better of him. It's a little bit lucky, but good smoke, and good lineup from s0m too right there. Once again, showing good crosshair placement with his position. That these are, look at the damage that he's actually inflicting onto Elige right now. Down to 64 already, and he hasn't even seen anybody yet. So good stuff from s0m early on to inflict a little bit of chip damage. And now they concede the angle. They don't have the manpower or the utility to continue pressing on forward. And they know that because they've taken the space early on, Liquid is really going to have to show their hand if they want to take space back towards A here. And this is the one-way smoke. I think it was pioneered by FaZe, but I'm not actually quite certain anymore whether it was another team. But just a good angle so that if anyone peeks s0m here, it's a really tough fight for them, whereas s0m can see pretty much any movement, and he knows that he has to shoot. So a couple flashes there, left-right click throws in order to just stop any sort of push from Liquid. And Liquid have now shown their hand towards B. They have no more utility, but there's really not much left for Gen.G as well. And s0m being very careful on his rotation, but this is the final utility from Liquid, just stopping him. But now the retake comes out. Good utility. And s0m uses a lot of bullets on the spam there, and that comes back to bite him, as you can see. He doesn't have any more to work with, and Naf, I think Naf actually was able to hear the fact that s0m ran out of bullets, so he knows that there's a fight to be taken, and Naf is able to find 2 kills in a position where he probably shouldn't have found anything. But that's when s0m's just a little bit too liberal with his bullet spam, and it comes back to bite him. So this is just an eco, just tucking his head down here. It's a pretty good spot. The T's can't really see you as they press on forward. So he just knows that if he's able to tuck in that position, he might be able to find something, a double peek. But Liquid just kind of clean it all up as Gen.G fold from that setup and try to find something different. So another gun round here, and not the best utility from Gen.G. So they still throw a smoke towards the ramp, and they'll fight in this position. s0m with another look this time. This has kind of been a fight that Gen.G have really liked, whether it's automatic, Bentet, or now s0m at that top angle right there to peek on down. And just kind of like a common fight. I mean, it's a good angle, all things considered. You can just get an isolated 1v1 from this. It's great with an op, because then you can usually just hold that angle that s0m was spamming, and you aren't really too exposed from anything until they start taking more position towards the ramp. And then there's kind of a timing where you have to fall off from that, because then they'll have an advantage on you. But it's a pretty good early round spot to take. And s0m, he's left alone here at the A bomb site, just going back to his favorite triple position. And Liquid just taking that space away. And that molly made s0m kind of consider throwing a smoke grenade, but instead he just uses it to stop any kind of push towards deep A. It's kind of a weird choice, in all honesty. But now s0m does something here where he doesn't seem to recognize always what his team's win condition is. It's tough to recognize how much utility was used by Liquid in this round thus far, but if they really kept a close eye on it, and they knew how many smokes were used by Liquid, how many Molotovs, which are usually the easier numbers to count, 5 smokes, 5 Molotovs, you don't have to really think about all the flashes. then you would know that you're advantaged here. And that's a really big ask, but it's something that some pros, Astralis especially, seem to always be on top of in terms of winning that war of attrition regarding utility. And s0m here tries to make, again, a liberal spray through this smoke here, trying to find a kill onto Elige, but Elige is able to take him down, and that's a huge victory for Liquid because they have no utility left in this round, and we'll see how this round kind of breaks down from a nice perspective and how Gen.G were hoping to approach this, because they still have a smoke left or a couple smokes and flashes, so this is a very strong retake, you can see, along with that flash, but there just isn't the manpower that they need in order to win this one. It gets pretty close, and you can imagine that if s0m were still alive in this, maybe he gets one of those kills, or at least as a body that can be traded. You know, just little things like that, being kind of just spamming through the smoke needlessly, and then taking an exchange that is not really favored for an M4, whereas an AK can just, you know, if they hit one headshot, you're dead. So that probably is the biggest mistake thus far coming out from s0m, but it's not like it's a huge one. It's still something where he's feeling himself. He was on a 13-3 scoreline and just thinks that he can do no wrong. So, but it's something that if you maybe recognize the utility and just let the whole retake procedure come into play, then it could have been a slightly easier time for his team. This is an interesting round because you can see that s0m doesn't actually shoot a single bullet despite the smoke dissipating and him kind of knowing that there's a player there. Ben-Tet takes the first fight, and it actually makes it so that Stewie isn't completely keyed into onto his angle when Stewie does eventually peek this. You can see that Stewie kind of like half peeks it, not really with complete intent, and so s0m is actually able to get a kill because of that, and it's a pretty good one at that, but Twist is still able to win the 1v2, but still good damage being inflicted. I don't think that was completely intentional that he didn't fire at the person in the smoke, but it's a strong position that if they don't really think you're there, then it can do a lot. And this is just a man fight that he takes on with Elige, and he's able to get an opening pick. There's really nothing that's completely supporting him in that fight other than the fact that he knows that there's probably nothing going on towards ramp. Ben-Tet was peeking the ramp, and s0m peeks the Ivy position. But all in all, it's just a 50-50 duel for the most part. He was able to catch Elige, thankfully, as he's running on forward. So 3v5 though, and now s0m, he's just playing this jiggle game, more or less. Just if there's anything that happens here, he can just right-click a smoke, stop Liquid in their tracks. So it's a good position. It's kind of that just info style where if he finds anything, then he can just really stop Liquid. And it's a really good smoke timing as well. But he gets a little bit unlucky here with how good of a flash Nitro throws in his direction. So another smoke comes out. Liquid, they know they just have to press on forward at this point, and s0m doesn't quite hear the flash, and because of that, Nitro's able to take him down. Good. Actually, still Gen.G were able to win that one, but it actually allowed Liquid to find a bomb plant and get a little bit more money in the round, but just kind of weird that he wasn't able to hear the flashbang, so it might have been comms or just too much utility being thrown, but good flash from Nitro, all things considered. And now, this is a little bit different setup from Gen.G. We can see that they're running a 1-3, where Ben-Tet's kind of playing a retake A, and that Kusta and Automatic are back here towards the B-bomb site, and so, we can see that Daps as well, just kind of over here. Just a different look from Gen.G, and it's a pretty strong read because Liquid were just stopped in their tracks at A last round. So this is kind of a gamble play, it looks like. Or maybe just Gen.G going to be playing more of a retake style at that A bomb site. So a good and timely stack towards this side of the map. Throws a Molotov kind of early, thinking that there might be a B hit coming out. So it allows him that ability to rotate towards B if he needs to, and they'll get a sound cue if anyone just pushes that, so it stops any kind of split from coming out if Liquid wanted to go for one. It's a pretty well-timed Molotov, actually, even though it didn't amount to anything. And so I'm just trying to hold on to this middle position. Knowing that there was a lot of pressure towards B earlier, it's a pretty good idea to consider that there might be someone lurking, but he does fall off the angle eventually. And still very liberal with the spam towards smoke, even though he didn't come out on top last time he did this. He's still going for it, still trusts his intuition, as he should. He's a pretty smart player. So now just tucking on a triple, and good flashes come out, and Naf just peeks right into it. And s0m, this is kind of more or less what Liquid, this is more or less the same retake that Gen.G went for the last time I showed that. The smoke towards that ramp position, the smoke towards the Ivy Hall, and it's what Gen.G would have wanted to see the last time they had that 5v5 retake. But this time it's a 4v4, and s0m does a great job just kind of playing within the system of his team, and Gen.G are able to come out on top. And that's kind of why I say that last time that he went for that spam against Elige, it was kind of a mistake, because you can see that Gen.G, when they want to run that normal retake setup, that they do a pretty fine job with it. Good smokes, good flashes, it allows them to press on forward, and he plays within the system that time, and it works out for him and his team. So good stuff from him. Again, going for that 1v1 duel towards the lower ramp area. Saw the Molotov come out, so he throws a nade to try to counter it. But this, again, is more of a retake setup coming out from Gen.G. Because they were able to win a fight at A, they're once again gambling that this is going to be a B hit, and it's a very good idea as well. They have 4 people, more or less, in that position. And s0m just playing more or less a pixel angle to try to stop anything. And the stack works out for Gen.G in terms of numbers, but Liquid are able to still bring it to a 3v3 at one point in this round, and this actually gets a little bit close. Actually gets to be a 1v2, and s0m has to try to bail his team out of this one. Throws a perfect Molotov on a Nitro, and Naf, he can't really dance around the bomb timer for the entire time, and he just peeks right into s0m. It wasn't a favorable duel for Naf, and he just kind of hard commits with his Deagle there, but he knows that playing around that one box, Naf that is, can't really expect to dance around s0m for 35 seconds to try to burn that much clock, and he just wants to take a fight, tries to take a timing before s0m maybe pulls out the utility and uses it effectively. So it's an okay idea from Naf, but s0m's just able to come out on top. He just has the better gun, really. And so s0m just throwing some supporting flashes for Ben Tet here, but Ben Tet isn't really feeling the flashes, but instead it's kind of a nade stack that comes out from the 2 players that go down towards ramp. And this is a little bit weird. This round is a little weird, and probably would be the only other real big mistake from s0m in this half. They do so much early chip damage, and s0m and the rest of Gen.G probably have read that this is supposed to be a half buy from Liquid, so he gets pretty aggressive. The smokes come out. You can see that... Actually, you can't really see anything there. You can see on the radar, though, that there's a smoke that lands there behind s0m, and he has an idea. He could position himself more aggressively or fall back, but instead he pushes on forward and sees the pistol from Nitro. And I have a feeling that if s0m saw a rifle there, maybe he wouldn't make this play, but it's kind of one of those things where your eyes just get really big because you see that the other team has pistols, or maybe he just wants to use this smoke. But the flashes are really good from Liquid, 5v3 situation, but actually he gets caught off guard by a team flash from Automatic. That's actually a combination of team flash and flashes from Liquid. There were 3 flashes that flew out in that split second there, and s0m actually gets caught off guard. And actually, Gen.G end up losing that round, which feels kind of unbelievable. But it's kind of Gen.G being, and s0m for that matter, being a little bit too aggressive in that circumstance. The smoke was actually pretty good to support s0m in this instance right here, but it's just him biting off a little bit more than he could chew. There were still a couple of flashes from Liquid, and I think there was probably a miscommunication between him and Automatic in terms of where that flash went. So s0m just completely eats it and is kind of taken out for free in that position. And now just P250s. Gen.G know that they could have a buy in the next round, just buy a couple upgraded pistols. They're able to get 1 kill, but he's quickly traded out. And Gen.G actually able to win that round because there was a flank late in the round towards that lower position. The B players actually aggressed, and it allows Gen.G to have a lot of money, so they drop pistols everywhere. But full utility, and we'll see the final gun round of the half now. Molotov comes out early, and this is weird again. I think this is a mistake from s0m where he just kind of peeks while completely blind. He's just kind of going through the motions, it felt like, in a way where he probably would have lost any duel because he completely ate that flash. Like, there was a good half second for him to respond to that, but good read from him there, actually, as he sees that Molotov come out from the T-side player but instead pushes on forward. So that's a very strong read because it allows s0m this really forward position that he might not otherwise have taken if he thought that Molotov was going to burn him, but he read the trajectory just perfectly. Good geometry or trigonometry from him. And now he just wins the spray duel. So s0m on smoke spray duels comes out just a little bit ahead in this game, in this half, but he ends up getting traded at the end of it all. Just couldn't find an escape route, and that's it for the half. But he goes 20 and 10 and dropped 145 or 142 ADR there. So really strong stuff. And you can see that s0m, he just takes a lot of risks. It seems like he knows sometimes when he probably shouldn't take the risk, or he learns from it in the middle of the game, like when he lost the spam duel against the Leech, but then decides to just kind of not take that fight the next time around, and they go for the full retake. But onto the T half now. Gets a nice trade onto Stewie there. And now just business as usual, 4v3 situation. Picked up the smoke from his teammate and was considering throwing it towards A, but you can see right here that Automatic has taken so much position towards this other site that s0m can just save the smoke, doesn't need to really use it needlessly, and now uses it to create some really good space for himself. So you'll see here that Twist, Nitro, and Naf now have to deal with this kind of extra space. So there's a little bit of a pocket here for s0m to work with, and it's just really smart idea from s0m, knowing that oftentimes the CTs do want to smoke off this, as they just did. So this is kind of an ahead of the meta smoke for him, in that he knew what Liquid were going to throw, and that he was able to carve out this little space from himself. And you'll see how he's able to play out the 1v3. It's so close, and he did everything he could have other than just hit that shot onto the crouch player in Nitro. And that's just one of those instances where Counter-Strike kind of sucks, in that if a player is crouched and looking down away from you, it is just gosh darn impossible to hit the headshot on him. And I feel like half the people that switch to Valorant just switch for that reason alone, that people that are crouching looking down like that are not hard to hit. But you'll see in this round, actually, or not this round, in this game, it might be this round, that s0m actually uses the crouching looking away to his own advantage, whereas Nitro just burned him with that play in the previous round. So weird decoy, but hero rifle round coming out from Gen.G here. They just kind of push on forward with these rifles. There wasn't really, it looks like, a huge plan from the side of from Gen.G in this round, but they just use their rifles, and they just have better guns, really, and just work in numbers. The plan was just to work in numbers with the rifles, and it works out very well. All three AKs still intact, and now s0m realizes where Twist is. And this gets a little bit hairy, given the low HP on the two players, but Kus is able to clean it up. So now, yeah, s0m just keeping himself alive there, just makes the rifle look good. Didn't overextend at any point in that round, knew how dire and how important that round was in determining the half. And now this is just the worst position from Liquid. You win the pistol, but lose the second round. This just sucks, because now you're on 0 loss bonus, working with just scraps, really. And s0m taking good control early on. Sits in the smoke, looks for the spam there. Good read, all in all. And here we'll see just what I'm talking about. We're going to watch this from Nitro's perspective, because you can see how annoying this actually is. Nitro hears that s0m uses all his bullets and reloads, and so he goes for the push. And look at what s0m does. He just tucks his head there, and now Nitro has to look straight down to try to find this kill. He's only able to hit, I think, a single bullet, or maybe 2, onto s0m, and Automatic's able to recover and take s0m out. It's just s0m using now what bit him in the pistol round against Nitro. It's kind of a taste of his own medicine. It's pretty funny, actually, all things considered, because you can see the chat there. Lol s0m. Holy F me. You know, just both teams having a little bit of a chuckle. Ha ha ha. And now this is probably one of s0m's most impressive mechanical rounds of recent memory, actually. Absolutely nuts spray control there. Kusta does get one. It's a shame, because that was such a clean anti-eco ace. Like, the speed at which he found those kills was just so impressive that, yeah, they're eco kills, but at the same time, that is perfect spray control. And if you miss maybe 3 more bullets in that spray transfer, you're dead if you're s0m. So gotta give him props for his mechanical ability, and it's a big reason why he was highly touted as he was coming up in the NA scene. So this is just Gen.G in the random firefight towards a ramp, which oftentimes determines a lot of rounds on Vertigo, unfortunately. Just goes the way of Gen.G. They just guess right, and they find the early opening pick. They're able to trade it out, and 4v4, always advantage for the T in a gun round such as that. It's actually not always, but contextually speaking it is. And again, here's a nice mechanical round from s0m, just peeking out towards middle. Nice spray. Connects with automatic to find these kills, but a slightly different default setup, as you can see, where it was kind of more of a B-centric one, where it was a 2-2-1. Bentet's actually underneath the ground right now, as he's holding for the A push, but this was kind of just a different default and anti-eco from Gen.G, where they knew the money from Liquid, and they just set up for a different sort of play. And now s0m actually ends up being the B defaulter here, along with Kusta. So again, Gen.G going for a slightly different setup, whereas s0m was someone defaulting towards A nearly every round for the gun rounds. He's now actually connecting with Kusta to try to find some sort of control towards the B site. And you can see that they're just kind of taking a lot of liberties here. They know that no one's peeking them. This is such a sick angle from s0m as well. And now he knows that Twists was in that position, but he gets shot out. And really, s0m is just kind of supporting the push from Kusta, who's able to do nearly everything there, but good Molotov as well to force Elige back. And this is... So a lot of people probably wonder how they're supposed to use a smoke in this kind of situation. What's like the best position? And this is the answer. This is really more or less the answer. If s0m... Yeah, so s0m gets up on here, just kind of lines up the smoke on the side, and right there, just a little bit of a walk, toss, throw, and you can see that his smoke lines up perfectly in that position to block off this angle, which enables Kusta to still hold on to that position right here, and it's just a really good, well-tossed smoke grenade, because a lot of people tries to do these weird bank ones. If you're not too familiar with Vertigo, there's a lot of let's just say this, there's a lot of smokes that you can throw that are worse than that, so s0m being a pro throws the optimal smoke here. And yeah, 32 kills, 12 deaths, really just kind of playing within the system of Gen.G there. The kind of craziest thing you'd say he did so far this half would have been the walk up with Kusta in that round, but it's more or less supported by the fact that he has a teammate, and it's supposed to be a contact play on that B bomb site. It's actually very calculated. So really, on the T side, you can see that it's just completely, it's all business for s0m. He's not really taking some of the same liberties that on the CT side he did. So early on, just defaulting towards middle here. Again, a slightly different default. Again, he's working in a pair with Kusta. It felt like earlier on in the setups for Gen.G that they wanted to put s0m and Bentet together, but now, at least on Vertigo, he's working more with Kusta, and that's just a god tier angle from Stewie. It's just so hard to see him. They fired one bullet here, and it's kind of a position that s0m was taking earlier, but it's just so slim, and just a perfect spray from Stewie. Pretty much a burst, actually. He doesn't even have to spray. So him and Kusta just get completely mowed down. That's just getting beaten by a superior angle, really. And so s0m defaulting towards B this round. Again, working with Kusta. They're together. Slightly different default, once again. And goes for a little bit of a peek towards the side there, but doesn't find anything, and now him and Kusta just kind of stopped at this ramp, decided to just get the bomb and group up with their teammates towards A. They just walk the whole way, and it's pretty much a 5-on-5 brawl now towards this side of the map. s0m with the supporting flash to allow his teammates to scale up towards the ramp, and on top of that, will be throwing, or had the idea to throw a Molotov. And this round, s0m just going through his utility. Good molly for the triple position, smoke for the back of the site, and now Elige just kind of shows his gun barely, and it's all s0m needs in order to take him out, but still low HP on the Gen.G side. They push on forward, and Stewie's in a pretty good position, but this might be the only other real mistake from s0m in this game. So him and Kusta are on low HP. There's a smoke on Kusta still, nade on s0m, and they both just kind of want to back off this angle. And instead of backing off towards the ramp, he decides to back off towards this side, and you know, that's not like a terrible mistake. They weren't aware of Twist's position, so it's not like it's a huge one at that, but it does end up with them lining up, and Twist is able to find a pretty easy spray down. But all in all, pretty well played round from s0m. It's just It's just a little bit unfortunate that his angle he decides to back up on is the one that Twist is holding. But good positioning from Twist, really. And so s0m, once again, using those supporting flashes. This is where Gen.G just says, screw the default. Every player is going to be going towards A right now. You can see that all 5 of them are in very close proximity now. Good utility to allow them this space. And this is kind of what happens when you're Liquid. When you decide that you want to play a little bit more passive and Gen.G just take all this space for free, they still have so much utility to exec onto this A bomb site. And now s0m, he only has a smoke, so can't really throw any of those great flashes to try to get his team up, so he decides to take the flank, to watch the flank in this position. But still comes back to throw his smoke for the back of the bomb site. But really, at this point, Liquid, they're just getting whittled away. They know, Gen.G knows that they can just play the buddy system at this point. s0m still a little bit concerned about this flank, wants to make sure that no one from Liquid makes some crazy hero play in order to win this round. But as soon as he clears this out more or less and it's a 4v1, he considers going towards B to try to find more space. But I think at this point, they just communicate to themselves that, hey, let's just group up. There's no way we lose a 4v1 if we're all together. And they don't. Spoiler alert. Smoke towards the back of site. Twist has revealed his position at this point, and really there's nothing Twist can even do. He's already tagged by an op, and Automatic's able to take it. And that's going to be it. Demo review for s0m. We'll see his scoreline once again. 33 and 14. Excellent stuff from him. And we'll bring up the stats once again. Thanks for dropping by for another pro player analysis. I know it's been a while, and hopefully this finds you all well. The reason I ended up doing this, by the way, now that we just are done with the review, anyone that's done with the demo can just say, see you later. But actually, someone on my stream donated $10 and said, and I asked him, well, what does he want to see for a demo review? And he said he wanted to see s0m. And I haven't done one for a while, but I kind of just had to after crowds. This is shout out to you. For the donation. And if you guys want to see anybody in particular, I mean, maybe that's the way to my heart now, just donating on my stream. So yeah, twitch.tv/Mauisnake. Also follow me on Twitter, of course. But maybe we'll see a little bit more content, but I have a few more events to go to. I hope you guys have been enjoying my analysis on the desks. Was at CS Summit most recently, Flashpoint, of course, before that. But more stuff coming soon. So we've come a long way, folks, but I appreciate each and every one of you that has been here. It means a lot. Your views, your likes, posting on Reddit, upvoting my links, even just retweeting things I say on Twitter or liking them has gotten to me where I am in my stage of my Counter-Strike career. So very, very appreciative. So as always, though, being toxic is a choice.